Share your best gaming videos and your video might be featured on my channel. So if you're interested, join my WhatsApp community. The link is in the description and comments section. What's up, guys? Today I'm going to guide you step by step on how to gank a lane successfully. Now, I want to be honest here. I'm not some big pro player. But based on what I've learned over the past few years, and from all the notes I've taken watching top esports players, I've put together this guide for you, so it might not be the most advanced, high-level tips, but you can take this as solid intermediate-level knowledge that will definitely help you improve. Alright then, let's get started with the guide. Notice here how I'm joining the fight only after everyone has already engaged. Sometimes being patient and waiting for the right timing to engage can completely change the outcome of a team fight. When you choose to enter the fight at the end, there are several advantages. 1. You won't be the main focus. Since everyone is already busy fighting each other, the enemies are less likely to target you immediately. 2. Most of their skills will be on cooldown. By the time you enter, they've already used their key abilities, which makes it much safer and easier for you to secure kills. 3. It plays into the assassin's natural role. Assassins are usually designed as finishers, the type of heroes who clean up the fight, taking out the low HP enemies who just survived the initial clash. That's why in most strategies, assassins are considered the perfect finishers in team fights. Ganking is one of the most important strategies in the game because it can completely shift the momentum in your team's favor if done correctly. But if you rush it or make a mistake, it can backfire just as fast. That's why it's important to understand the basics, timing, and positioning before you jump into action. Okay guys, listen this very carefully. When it comes to ganking a lane successfully, there are basically two main things you always need to keep in mind: timing and positioning. Of course, there might be other smaller details that play a role, like communication, map awareness, or predicting enemy movements. But at the end of the day, the foundation of every good gank comes down to these two factors. If your timing is off, even the best positioning won't save the gank. And if your positioning is wrong, perfect timing won't help either. So learning how to balance both is what makes a gank successful.
Understood. Understood.
My blood.
Guys, I'm really sorry, but I can't show you the exact video where I pulled off this type of ganks. Because honestly, if I had to put in that much effort playing multiple matches, collecting clips, and editing, then I wouldn't be able to provide you with regular content. And I know that would probably feel boring for you guys too. To grow a channel, it's really important to stay consistent and engaged, because that's what builds a bond between me and you. But don't worry, even if I can't always provide the exact examples, I can still share two clear situations where this strategy works really well. First situation is, like when the enemies are alone and off guard. This is the simplest one. It's basically a free kill. Just hide in the bush, wait for the right moment, and strike them by surprise. If they don't expect you, they usually won't have time to react. And second situation is, when both your teammates and the enemy team are gathered in one lane, let's say the gold lane in the early game like I showed you earlier. Here's the patience becomes really important. Like, let both sides start fighting, and when the perfect timing comes, you jump in and clean up. Now you might wonder, what exactly is perfect timing? If the enemy has heavy CC heroes, wait until they burn those crowd control skills. Or if they have burst heroes like Eudora, wait for them to waste their big skills first. Or simply, let both sides get busy fighting each other, because when the enemies are distracted, they can't focus on you as well. That's when you strike, and that's how you can gank a lane effectively in different situations. Okay guys, the guide ends here. And for those of you saying that I'm just collecting all this information from ChatGPT, you're kinda wrong. I'll admit this. My style of communication might sound a bit like ChatGPT's pattern, and that's because I actually do use it, but not in the way you might think. I use ChatGPT mainly to correct my grammar, not because my English is trash, but simply because sometimes I might make mistakes. And I also ask it to make my explanations easier to understand, so that you guys can follow along without any confusion. So yeah, you're not completely wrong that I use ChatGPT in my process, but here's the important part. You are wrong if you think all the tips and tricks come from there. That's not the case. To make it crystal clear, all the tips, ideas, and strategies are mine. They come from my own experience, my years of playing, and from studying esports analysis and many other things. The only thing ChatGPT helps with is polishing the language. I just wanted to clear that up because I know some people might think I'm not giving my own opinions in these videos. But trust me, bro, every single point comes from me. And I know some of you might still be doubting me, and honestly, I understand why. A lot of the tips I share often come across in a general way. I don't always break them down with very detailed examples, and sometimes I don't provide proof through exact gameplay clips. Because of that, it might sound like I'm just motivating or encouraging instead of giving you practical step-by-step tips. For example, when I say something like join the fight at the perfect timing, I don't always define exactly what that perfect timing looks like in every possible scenario. And I know some of you expect me to say, in this situation, at this moment, do this. But the truth is, it's almost impossible to give one fixed definition. Here's why. Every game is different. Your enemies are different. Their heroes and lineups are different. Even the way your teammates play is different. So the exact same moment or situation that I face in my match may never appear in your match. And that's the big problem. If I spend time showing one very specific example, it might not be useful to you at all, because the same thing might never happen in your games. That's why I prefer to give tips in a general but flexible way. Instead of handing you one narrow scenario, I try to show you the overall mindset and principle that works across most matches. For example, when I talk about perfect timing, I don't mean just one specific second in one match. I mean the things like I explained earlier about timing, waiting for stuns to be used, or waiting for burst damage to be burned, or simply waiting until everyone is already busy fighting. These are the situations that happen repeatedly across many games. They're not tied to one clip, one patch, or one hero. They're fundamentals that you can apply no matter what. And I get it. It might not sound as satisfying as me showing you a very specific gameplay moment and saying, see, do this exactly. But that would be misleading, because your match won't unfold exactly like mine. Instead, by keeping things general, I'm actually giving you adaptable tools that you can use in any game. I admit that my tips sound more general and less proof-heavy, but that doesn't mean they're empty or useless. It means I'm focusing on giving you knowledge that's flexible and applicable no matter what match you're in. That's why I always present my tips this way, not because I don't have gameplay, not because I don't want to show proof, but because I know it's better for you guys to learn principles rather than memorizing one situation that you might never face. And one more additional tip I want to share with you is this. If your gank doesn't go well in the early game, don't get discouraged and definitely don't dive in recklessly just to force a kill. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Acting out of desperation is honestly the worst thing you can do in a match, because it usually ends up hurting your team more than helping. Remember, it's not guaranteed that every gank will lead to a kill. Sometimes the enemy is just more skilled, sometimes they react fast, or sometimes they have escape tools that let them get away. And that's completely fine. It happens. What you should do instead is reset your mindset. Don't let the failed gank push you into making risky moves. Just go back to farming, secure your gold and experience, and stay on track. Even if you didn't get the kill, farming will keep your damage output strong and make sure you don't fall behind. So don't treat every failed gank as a loss. It's just part of the game. What matters is how you recover and stay consistent. That's what will make you stronger later on. And here's another tip, especially for those of you playing solo rank. Instead of always going to the marksman lane, try focusing on the mid lane and ganking there. The reason is simple. In solo rank, there's a good chance that the enemy mage won't join the marksman lane. When that happens, the mid lane becomes an easier target for ganks. You can secure kills more reliably because the enemy team's tank and hyper carry are most likely in the marksman lane, leaving the mid lane less defended. By paying attention to lane distribution like this, you can take advantage of opportunities that others might miss. This kind of awareness will give you a higher success rate in ganks, especially in solo matches where coordination isn't guaranteed. So, always look around, notice where the enemies are, and choose your gank target wisely. Picking the right lane can make a huge difference in how effective your ganks are. So guys, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and join my WhatsApp community. By joining, your videos might even be featured on my channel. Don't worry, the community isn't for my benefit. It's just my way of showing appreciation to all of you. I want to feature every one of you and let you know that this channel supports you. Plus, you can chat with each other, find new squads, or discuss game strategies. A big welcome to everyone who's already joined the community. I really appreciate you all.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Your team